In this fifth expression of Virgo, we continue the journey of self-perfecting, having cultivated a much more refined personality by getting some control over our emotionality. We move towards a more responsible approach to life, and responsibility is the keyword that we're studying here. The 21st degree of Virgo is about the girls' basketball team, and here we have the sense of being part of a group consciousness. Any player within the team that is lost in their own self-glorification, in the end, is a waste of space. You don't want them on your team. Even if they're very good indeed, eventually it corrupts the main purpose of the exercise, which is to develop group consciousness, not to win matches. And this actually happens in practice. If you've got a superstar that wins all the games for you, the team just loses morale. It doesn't work. In the end, the superstar has to go off and be part of something where they're not the superstar, or it just doesn't work. So the first stage towards responsibility, fully mastered, is understanding that you're simply part of the group experience. And you've got to do your best, you've got to do all you can, but not for yourself. You've got to do it for the team. And we go to Virgo 22, and we're talking about a royal coat of arms. This is aristocracy, the highest level, royalty. And this is to do with the highest level of responsibility. When you gain your sense of being able to support the group endeavor and lose yourself in the process, you claim and deserve high office. It's observable in any sphere of activity, the people who are actually really making the decisions, not the ones who are sitting on top of it all and commanding others to do things for them. They don't really make the decisions. It's the high level of middle management that run things. These are the ones that do not go into self-proclamation. They do the job, and they do it properly, and they serve the team. They take one for the team. You know, that's the level that we're talking about here. And the idea of that level of service being associated with royalty is rather controversial. It's not so much the observation of what is the case or has been the case. It's an affirmation of what should be the case. Royalty, if it's doing its job properly, should stand between those who are not willing to take responsibility and those above the king. Well, who's above the king? And in one sense, the spiritual principle. Well, in fact, that is the sense. It has been seen that there was a time in medieval history in Europe when the kings reported to the Pope, the spiritual authority, and that was the correct principle. It was corrupted. The Pope then became the emperor rather than the spiritual guide who could lose a sense of ego. So the king's direct kind of prayerful attitude towards God, there have been kings in history where this has been known, and the best kings are admired for their ability to do that. So this is the sense in which we're actually using this royal coat of arms, where somebody who deserves to be in that position of the queen or the king of a nation are taking that high level of responsibility because they can, and they're willing to give up self in order to serve the greatest purpose of the group. And in Virgo 23 we see a lot of what happens when you try and do that. The animal trainer can actually tame the beast, has actually reached that high level of being able to train a lion, a lion tamer or something like that. And the metaphor here, of course, is that we've got our prideful self-love and we just tame it. Even people that behave as though they were humble, very often you can see that they're not really, but they've actually tamed their pride, and they don't let it show. that they really try and get on top of it as a spiritual exercise, and to behave with all humility, even though they actually feel the sense that they've come further than others. And as soon as you start thinking that way, there's bound to be egotistical pride within there somewhere. Other people might just say, look, this is how I am, take it or leave it, not pretending to be humble, until such time as they actually really become humble. They feel it. That's a different path of humility. And either way, you're still doing the same thing. You know, you're training the animal within yourself, the violence, the insensitive, the inconsiderate part of you. This is the animal that you need to train. Whenever you do something because you want to do it and you don't think about the other person or the implications of what you're doing, that's your animal. You know, when you're actually thinking, oh, I want to do this, however, somebody else doesn't want me to do this, when you're considering the other person, then you're training the beast within. Virgo 24, Mary and her white lamb, gives us a clue of what happens if we do this remarkably well. We become innocent. We actually lose our sense of self-importance without losing our sense of self-love. It's just that we love it all. We love ourselves, we love life, we love Mary, and we love the lamb, and we love it innocently and spontaneously, and life's just like that. It's free and easy, and we've taken on the deeper meaning then of the word responsibility, where we're able to respond, response ability. We can respond to a situation, and we can respond by being compassionate to somebody who's suffering, and we can respond by being fiery and enthusiastic by somebody who's feeling on top of the world. And you know, we can just do whatever is appropriate at the time, and we respond to the needs of a situation first, rather than responding to our own sense of desire and so on, and convictions that we may have not yet let go of. And this brings us in Virgo 25 to the flag at half-mast. I know that's an image of death and grief and so on, but actually the meaning that's attributed to this Sabian symbol is not so much that someone has died, but that someone respected, admired has died. And it's the admiration that we're discussing. That somebody who's actually taken responsibility to that very, very high level where they can be spontaneously responsive, they're well respected by the community, and their passing is mourned. That's a real test of admiration and respect, isn't it? If when you die, there's community approval for what your life has been like.